I'm Doug Lynch with Burris Customer Service, and been at Burris for about 5 years, and I'm living my passion, my hobby, and I get to hunt and shoot on Burris time. I'm supposed to be working today, but we're out here at the range. Out at the Burris range, we're going to tell you all about NRL 22 and NRL 22X, a new game that has just been recently introduced, but we'll give you all the details on that.
I'm Dorgan Trostel, Burris Pro Shooter. I'm excited to be out here. We have a whole line of varying obstacles to attack with different pro tips for each obstacle, how to approach it. So we're excited to be out here at the Burris range as well. We got targets set up from 30 yards, 50, all the way out to 300 yards. Know your limit rack at 100 yards. So it's going to be a fun and difficult day. The wind's light right now, but I imagine it'll pick up. So we'll see you on the range. In this video, we'll cover what you're most likely to encounter on your first NRL match or stage. So as you come up to the match or the stage, you'll get a match book, and they usually just give you a book or a piece of paper with all the stages spelled out. Most likely they're going to have the yardages on it, and the targets, maximum number of shots fired, required equipment for the list. If it says bipod only, rear bag only, no limitations, those are things that are important to pay attention to, because if there's no limitations, then your mind is the only limiting factor there. So you'll go up to a target, you'll read your page as stage 1, know your limit rack. What's a know your limit rack? That's 5 different targets going from big to small. At any time you can stop if you're afraid to go for the smaller one. Maybe it's super windy, maybe you barely hit the first 2 and you're like, that's probably good, maybe I'll stop. Important thing about know your limit racks, and there's different plays on it. Sometimes the course of fire is shoot every one of them twice. Sometimes the course of fire is shoot until you miss. If you miss, you lose all your points. Sometimes the course of fire is you have 10 rounds, keep shooting. If you miss, start over, then keep shooting down again. If you miss, start over and try to get all 5 hits, and then still stop whenever you can. That's a double trick. One, you only have so many rounds of ammunition. So if you hit the 4th one, you maybe want to go for the 5th one, but if you miss, you got 2 rounds left, you're only going to get to the 2nd one. Maybe you just stop and stick with the targets you have. Other different types of targets they can have out there are troop lines. So that'll be 5 targets in a row from 30 to 150 yards, and you have to shoot each one twice, or maybe shoot each one once and then go through and shoot each one once again. Troop lines are super fun. Know your limit racks are super fun. And other times they might just have 3 different targets, and you'll engage them from 3 different positions, like off of a tank trap or off of a ladder or something of that sort. And then those are usually super timed, and you're limited by your moving, so you either usually just remember the yardages and you do holdovers. So the first target, you shoot the first one twice, then move, go to the 2nd position, shoot the 2nd target, move, 3rd target from 3rd position, or shoot all 3 targets from the 1st position, move to the 2nd position, shoot all 3 again, 3rd position, all 3 again. Those are super fun. It's a quick and easy way to get a 9-round count stage down. So right now we're going to talk about what happens if you're in a match book and they don't give you the yardages, or if they do give you the yardages, but you still have to go and find the targets. So they tell you the yardages are 30, 50, 75, and 100 yards. So what you want to do is you want to get a rangefinder, or if they don't give you those yardages, you still want a rangefinder. You'll go out there, you'll find them, you'll range each one, and then you'll draw a little picture of where they're at. So for example, I drew a little picture. I have a X with a target, and I kind of just draw exactly where they're at, close and left. This one's the far right, and then it goes up and left from there. So what that's going to do is if I use this for my range card, or if I just set it down next to me, I can look if I'm trying to find the next target, and then while you're waiting for your turn to shoot, you can just sit there and study. And if you're watching, then you know the target they're going to next. So you're constantly thinking about what you have to do when you get up there. So I'll put an X and put the yardage next to it. Maybe there's a big bush, so I'll draw a big bush or something that's super obvious, a big rock, a big berm, anything like that. And then put the yardage down, then I'll dial the elevation. The elevation will never change, and then you got to figure out the hard part of the match, so the wind. Right now we're getting anywhere from 4 to 8 mile-an-hour winds. It's not super consistent, but it's not bad. We'll get some gusts up to 12. But for the most part, I'm going to ignore the gusts, and I'm going to write down wind for what I think it is, and a little bit of high and a little bit of blow. So I usually write 2 winds down, and that'll allow me on my range card, if I shoot and I find out my high wind was incorrect and it's actually my low wind, then each yardage I can keep the consistent low winds all the way out for all my targets. So then, after I write everything down, I'll have a range card. I'll either attach a range card to my rifle, an armband, or I'll use the XTR 3 target knobs. The XTR 3 target knobs I can literally draw on the turret itself. Target 1, and then put the wind above it. Target 2, put the wind above it. And I just dial to that mark, and it's super easy. So as I'm going from target to target, my first target, it's close, so I have my zero's at 50 yards and it's closer, so I got to dial up for the close targets. I dial up, pew pew, shoot it twice. Go next target, dial back to 0 because that's where I'm 0 to 50. There's 2 shots there, and I go to the target 75, dial 0.8 mils, dial up to 0.8, 2 shots there. The wind's picking up. I have 0.4 to 0.6 wrote down, so I'm going to start holding 0.6. It's a little further. And then the last target's at 100 yards, 1.9 mils, dial up to 1.9, and finish the stage. So accurate data before you start a stage is the difference between a really bad stage and a potentially really good stage. Thanks for watching our videos today. We had an awesome time out here shooting, learning, teaching each other some new tricks and tips so we can become better shooters, better riflemen, and better people.
To that too, yes, of course, yes. So subscribe to the video and have fun watching them. We had a great time putting it all together.